Welcome to the Regulatory and Facility Compliance Staff Training for Vagfalls Residential Care Center, Incorporated. By the end of this video, DSP staff will understand regulatory requirements, follow facility policies, maintain resident rights and safety, document accurately, and remain survey-ready at all times. This protects residents, staff, and the facility. Regulatory compliance means following all laws, regulations, and licensing standards governing residential care facilities. This includes Title 22 regulations, licensing requirements, HCBS standards, resident rights laws, and health and safety codes. Title 22 of the California Code of Regulations governs community care licensing facilities. It outlines admission, medication documentation, incident reporting, staff training, resident records, care standards, disaster preparedness, and documentation timelines. Compliance matters because licensing evaluates if progress notes are complete, incidents are documented timely, staff trainings are current, and resident records are organized. Missing or inconsistent documentation equals a deficiency. Facilities are monitored by the California Department of Social Services through the Community Care Licensing Division. Licensing requires accurate resident records, staff background clearances, training verification, timely incident reporting, medication logs, updated physician reports, and emergency documentation. Compliance protects resident health and safety, staff job security, the facility license, and the organizational reputation. Non-compliance can lead to citations, fines, investigations, and license revocation. ARFs receiving regional center funding must follow the Home and Community-Based Services Final Rule. HCBS focuses on person-centered planning, community integration, resident choice and autonomy, individualized services, and documentation reflecting goals and outcomes. Inspectors look for documentation that reflects person-centered care. They verify that residents are supported in making choices, services are individualized, and progress toward goals is documented. Residents in ARFs and RCFEs are protected under California law with rights including privacy, dignity, freedom from abuse or neglect, participation in care decisions, access to records, and complaint rights. Failure to uphold these can result in civil penalties or citations. Facilities must comply with California health and safety requirements for medication administration, infection control, emergency preparedness, supervision levels, nutrition documentation, and falls or injury documentation. Failure can result in immediate jeopardy citations or civil penalties. DSPs are the frontline compliance staff. You are responsible for daily care and supervision, documentation, safety monitoring, reporting incidents, and following care plans. DSPs must always protect resident rights, including dignity and respect, privacy, choice and independence, freedom from abuse or neglect, and confidentiality. Violations of these rights are reportable incidents. Treat residents with courtesy, patience, and professionalism. Disrespectful treatment like humiliation, ridicule, yelling, or degrading language may result in a deficiency. Residents have the right to personal privacy in bathrooms, bedrooms, phone calls, and personal records. They also have the right to choice and independence in daily activities, clothing, and social interactions. Unnecessary restrictions or unauthorized entry may violate licensing standards. Residents must be free from physical, emotional, and financial abuse, as well as neglect or lack of supervision. Any suspected abuse or neglect is a mandated reportable incident. Resident information must only be shared with authorized individuals. Improper disclosure can result in citations. DSPs ensure required staffing ratios, line-of-sight supervision when needed, fall prevention, a safe environment, and that staff remain awake overnight. Resident safety is the #1 priority. Facilities must maintain sufficient staffing levels at all times. Failure to meet required ratios may result in licensing deficiencies. High-risk residents must be visually supervised per their care plan. Failure to do so may be cited as neglect. DSPs must implement all fall prevention measures identified in the resident's care plan. The facility must be free from hazards, like unlocked medications, unsafe equipment, or blocked exits. Environmental safety violations can result in immediate deficiencies. When required, staff must remain awake and alert overnight. Sleeping on duty may result in serious licensing violations. Resident safety is the #1 priority, and failure to provide proper supervision or safe conditions may be cited as neglect under Title 22. DSP medication responsibilities include following the MAR exactly for the correct resident, medication, dose, and time, and documenting immediately. Report all medication errors, store all medications locked, and never pre-pour or guess medications. Medication administration is regulated under California Code of Regulations Title 22. Failure to comply may result in deficiencies, civil penalties, a plan of correction, repeat violation citations, and provisional license status. Title 22 requires medications to be administered according to the physician's written order, pharmacy label, and MAR. They must match the physician's order exactly. Licensing will cite facilities for administering outside ordered parameters or having incomplete or altered MAR entries. Deficiencies may be issued for wrong resident, incorrect dosage, missed medications, late administration, or incorrect route. Repeated medication errors can be cited as neglect. Title 22 requires accurate and contemporaneous documentation. Documentation must be clear, legible, completed at the time of administration, and properly signed or initialed. Violations include pre-signing the MAR, backdating, or altering records. Facilities must document medication errors, notify the administrator immediately, contact the physician if required, and monitor the resident. Report the error to licensing if it results in serious injury. Failure to report serious incidents may result in an immediate deficiency. Licensing requires all medications to be stored in a locked container, inaccessible to residents, and maintained in original labeled containers. Controlled substances require separate storage and shift-to-shift counts. Unlocked or improperly stored medications result in immediate citation. Prohibited practices include pre-pouring medications, administering medication without a written order, guessing dosage, using expired medication, using another resident's medication, or crushing medication without authorization. These may be classified as neglect. Medication compliance is a common citation category. High-risk areas include expired physician orders, missing PRN documentation, medication counts not matching, untrained staff, and incomplete MAR records. Records must be available for immediate review during unannounced inspections. All documentation must be accurate, objective, timely, legible, and confidential. Remember, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Under Title 22, all resident and facility documentation must meet specific regulatory expectations. Licensing evaluates documentation during unannounced inspections, complaint investigations, incident reviews, annual visits, and civil penalty assessments. Failure to meet these standards may result in deficiencies. Accurate records must reflect true and correct events, with no falsification or altered entries. Objective documentation must be fact-based and observable, describing behaviors rather than expressing personal judgments or opinions. Timely entries must be completed at the time of the event or immediately after, with no backdating or delayed documentation. Records must be legible, clear, and readable. Illegible documentation may be treated as missing. Resident records must be confidential, secure, and accessible only to authorized staff. Improper access or disclosure may result in citations. Licensing considers documentation legal evidence of care provided.